is up, fam? Welcome to another episode of the Court of Capes. Court is now in session.
Court.
All right, boys. We just finished season 4, and it's pretty interesting.
What an ending to the season it was.
Oh, yes. We will definitely get to that at the end of the season.
It was wild.
But why? Yeah, it was. It was pretty wild. So before we do that, let's do our little session called Get to Know Your Judges.
I'm a judge.
Yeah. Yeah. As you know, we're the Court of Capes, and we are all judges here talking about stuff that we don't really know about, but kind of know about. So I don't know if that qualifies us as judges, but...
Well, I believe the term is sophomore. Wise fools.
Yes, sir.
We're comic
All right.
sophomores.
So, I guess a question I have for you guys, about you guys, because that's what this is about, is hopefully everyone's able to answer this question here. But what is your favorite superhero video game of all time?
LOL.
I think we should extend this to video games based on comic books, because I know what JC's answer would be for that.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, video games based on comic books. That definitely expands it.
So yeah, I guess I can go first, because of the three of us, I'm the most hardcore gamer, I guess you could say. And I think in terms of, I'm going to give two answers because I'm going to cheat. Number one is Spider-Man for PS4, because swinging around New York feels perfect in that game, and it's exactly how feeling like Spider-Man should feel.
Yes, I totally agree.
While the storyline is a little bit predictable, there are still some moments that shook me in the end. And Peter Parker, as Yuri Lowenthal voicing him, is spectacular. And then, holistically, that's my favorite game in terms of gameplay. My favorite game in terms of overall feeling like I felt like this superhero was Batman Arkham Asylum. Because the game takes place over one night. Batman goes into Arkham Asylum. He's like, I got to figure this out. And it kind of evolves as it goes. There's some really cool, dark moments. The ending kind of sucks, but the rest of the game is incredible. And Kevin Conroy is Batman. How can you go wrong with that?
Yeah. The OG, not to put any stain on the voice of the Batman and the Batman.
So Josh, what about you?
Well, I'm basically on the same wavelength as you. Spider-Man PS4. Luckily, you were able to let me borrow your PS4, and I was able to play through the story and then 100% the game.
Oh yeah,
with Anthony,
our dearly departed judge.
That was absolutely awesome. Staying up till 3:30 at night, just grinding out all the little missions, all the little bases that they had, everything. I thoroughly enjoyed that aspect of it. Going around New York, finding a random crime. I think that's something that the Spider-Man PS4 had that Arkham games do not.
Mm-hmm.
Just having that little aspect that you can really be doing something productive, whether it's big or small. While, and the swinging around New York was just absolutely awesome. So great. The flow was good. It felt great. Yeah, that's probably my favorite superhero game of all time, which is wild. I usually lean DC, but this that game for me was just such an eye opener. Like I played through the Arkham series, and Arkham Asylum is definitely a number two, like very very close number two. The story was very well written. That was the big thing about Arkham Asylum is like the story's super cool. Had some cool
it was kind of the first superhero game where you were like, oh, so these things can be as good as the movies.
Yeah, that's true. They had yeah, that was basically the story, and the Batman Telltales was kind of trying to be like a movie as well. But
yeah, I played the first season of that. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. But yeah, Spider-Man PS4, and now that Spider-Man Miles Morales is coming out, we'll see how it does. This is like 1.5, so technically it's not Spider-Man 2 in terms of PlayStation, but I'm super excited to check it out with you at some point.
But next week, in the beginning of our episode, perhaps we can drop a little Spider-Man Miles Morales review.
Ooh, yes. I'm down for that.
So get hyped, people.
Get hyped. All right, Judge Brown, what you got?
Okay, so Curtis, can you remind me what that qualifier you said there was? That video games based off of comic book?
Yeah,
correct.
So that then extends to the games that I have played.
Yes. Think about properties you like that have been in comic books. Yes. That I think you know what I'm throwing down.
I know exactly what you're throwing down. So for the dear listeners who might not know this, I was not allowed to play video games growing up. So I am not quite as well versed as Judges Cooper and Shelton in the realm of video games. However, in my teenage years, I managed to somehow download Steam and convince my father to allow me to make 2 purchases. And those were 2 Transformers games, because in addition to all things superheroes, I am very much so into the realm of the Transformers. And of those 2 games, my favorite, and just so everyone knows, Transformers started off in Marvel Comics way back in 1984, before they went to the small screen in the original Transformers show. So therefore they qualify being a part of Marvel Comics. So
I'm glad they were a comic first. I couldn't exactly remember.
So
they just appeared out of nowhere.
Yes.
Took a gamble.
Yes. And it's so fitting that it was Marvel that started off the Transformers, so more love to Marvel for that. But anyway, I would say that my favorite game that I've played out of the 2 is Transformers Devastation, because Fall of Cybertron is one of those precision, like, gunner games, and for someone who had... Yeah, shooter. So for someone who had so little experience, that was very difficult and time-consuming to learn that skill. And I enjoyed it, and I got okay at it, but I was never that great at it. Whereas with Devastation, it's just kind of like a hit-'em-up type of game, and that was very similar to what I had experienced with, like, you know, random online video, like, quote-unquote video games growing up.
Yeah.
So it was very much in my wheelhouse, very fun, great graphics, just fantastic. Loved it.
That sounds awesome. Yeah. I've played Transformers Cybertron on Xbox 360.
Oh yeah.
That was interesting. I played the multiplayer version. It was actually really fun. The servers would kind of shut down every now and then, or just like wouldn't really hold up. But however, when I played that game, I had so much fun. And I also played one of the Transformers games based off the movies, and transforming was so freaking cool. Like, you'd be running with your character, and all of a sudden you would transform into a car, or truck, or just some sort of aircraft, which was cool. Like, you always wanted to be a Decepticon because you could fly. Like, that was the coolest part. All right, so that is some information about your judges where we tell you stuff about us so you can get to know us, get to like us. I don't know, maybe get to hate us. I don't know, disagree with us. However you feel.
Haters
But,
behave.
The
yeah,
viewers are entitled to their opinions, and we
this
will
is true.
respect them.
However wrong they might be.
Indeed.
That is the Curtis key phrase right there. All right, so moving on to the show we are currently reviewing. We are reviewing The Batman, and we just watched episodes 8 through 13. What is your overall feel about these episodes, guys?
All right, so this part of the show did not necessarily contain my favorite episode so far, but to me, I felt like this was the deepest run of episodes so far, because even the one I'm going to rank at the bottom, I still enjoyed a high amount.
Okay.
For me, I definitely think that there were no low points compared to
abysmal episodes.
Yeah, I feel like there's always been like that one episode that we're like trying to forget existed.
Yeah.
And really didn't happen this time.
True. Yeah.
So that was a nice change of pace. For me, overall, I thought that very fun episodes. Not as memorable as like some other like really key ones. Like nothing really stood out to me like as super great either. It was just kind of middle of the road, good quality, not the best, not the worst, just solid. That's how I felt about it. It was solid.
Yeah.
What about you, Josh?
I definitely agree. In the sense that all these were solid, in consistency. You know, there was none that was absolutely like really bad or one that you know you'd want to forget. However, I don't think there was any episode in this series that makes it to the top 5 of my list.
Yeah, I mean, one of them might crack my top 5, but it's I'm pretty similar to you in that opinion.
I think I know which one it is, but
I feel like you all can read me like a book, and you all already know what I'm going to rank number 1.
I have a idea.
But it was pretty good. All right, so I'm trying to look up this fun fact here and see if it is true.
Stalling for time. Batman is cool.
Batman is cool.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes. Okay, so I was right. Okay, so a little fun fact I'm going to throw at you guys if you guys recognized it. I know I did. I just never looked it up when it happened. All right, so the first episode that we will review is one after JC's all-time favorite episode of Artifacts. Episode 8, Season 4, called Seconds.
Oh, yeah.
The Clock King.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
This episode was kind of wild.
It was. All right. So I thought that his power was pretty cool. I thought that how he got his power was the dumbest thing ever.
That was literally the stupidest thing I've seen on this show so far in terms of explanation. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
It was real dumb.
So the guy has a mental breakdown and then can control time-ish? Like, what?
Like, literally, like, develops, like, the powers of, like, a time god. Because he stared at clocks too long.
What, you mean that's not how that works?
Yeah, I thought at some point when they explained it, I thought at some point it was going to be like, and this was all in your head, like, kind of thing. But no,
it wasn't.
they could have at least doused the clocks in radiation or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, this is the most unrealistic, yet they're trying to make it real kind of concept ever. Like, but with that aside, I thought it was super interesting, like on a philosophical point, just like the concept of time and how he was able to turn back time, even just for 20 seconds. I thought, man, if done right, this could be like almost unstoppable.
Oh yeah.
And we got to see that clearly in the episode.
Yeah, because he effectively did beat Batman. Batman was not able to beat him in a fight.
Yes. Yeah. Well, until like the last minute where he started to somehow, didn't really explain how that happened. He was like,
yeah,
he just kept doing something different every time, but that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't ultimately like help him in the long run. It just prolongs the inevitable.
Yeah, true. I was just trying to come up with like how Batman was using different moves every time he went back in time. Like he said he could feel the deja vu.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense either.
But how does one make a different decision? I don't know.
You know, I think it all goes back to how Bruce Wayne trained to be the Batman. How like way back in, I'm guessing it was season 1, where he fought against Spellbinder, I believe his name was.
And there's a throwback.
Yeah. And remember, there was like all these hallucinations, but yet Batman was eventually able to do mind over matter, and he was able to see through them and beat Spellbinder. And I think this is just a continuation of that. Batman's mind is just so strong that he was
can beat time? Like, what?
You're grasping, JC.
Well, hear me out here.
Oh, we're listening.
Because Clock King his mind was able to remember. We have no freaking clue why his mind was able to remember, but it was. We have no clue how he got his powers, besides wishing really, really hard. So if we can accept all of that, which we barely do, I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that Batman, with all of his training, was able to will into existence a small fraction of Clock King's power, in that he was able to at least somewhat remember the past trials of what happened.
Okay. I get where you're going with this. I get what you mean. You know, like if a guy can develop, you know, clock powers just by staring at clocks super hard, then, you know, Batman should have the ability at some point to overcome deja vu with his mind at each time.
I mean, yeah, they both logically make about the same amount of sense.
Yeah, basically.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to hear.
You could have just led with that. But anyway, things I liked about this episode were, of course, like the idea of Batman fighting someone with time traveling abilities is cool. I liked how he was like slowly figuring it out. I also liked that they at least attempted to give Clock King his own backstory that wasn't just like, oh, I was a thug.
Yeah.
True. Gave him some purpose.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Josh.
No, just like some purpose, but also some like, you know, you're not gonna hate him completely, you know, kind of feel bad for the guy.
And like I thought it was really interesting how effectively Clock King got away with his evil plan. And like, if not for like the basically Deus Ex Machina of him suddenly figuring out how to go back 5 years, he would have killed all those people, including Batman, Robin, and Batgirl.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Straight up. I wonder if he still has his powers after he went back all the way to that time.
Oh, I think he does, and I think he 100% remembers all that.
No, I think he remembers everything. That's why he didn't pick up the watch at the second time. I think he remembers everything. However, he went back to a time before he got his powers.
That's sticky.
So,
I doubt he'll come back though, so it doesn't really matter.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, I don't really have too much to say about this episode other than that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I've said all I needed to say.
I actually have an interesting question to pose here.
Okay.
Do you think that it's irresponsible of the show? Now, since, you know, the target demographic is kids for this, or at least, well, yeah, kids. So the central message, the theme that I took out of this, and that goes all the way back to how Clock King's powers worked. And I can only assume that this is what the creators of the show intended. But basically, the theme that I took from this was that if you try really, really hard, or if you wish really, really hard, you can will change into existence even in the past. And that you don't have to accept reality for what it is and then move on. But you can try really, really hard and change your mistakes. You don't have to live with the consequence.
Okay.
Now, is that an irresponsible thing to put out into the world, especially to kids?
Well, okay. That's not the message I got out of this episode. Which I see where you're coming from, but I also see that everything didn't work out for him at the end. You know what I mean? Like the guy, if everything worked out in the end with him, then I think that would have been the message that would have been stained in the mind of the viewer. However, I got is like two kind of messages. Is number one, you don't get a second chance. If you make a bad decision, you know, you got to face the consequences in that sense. And then that's kind of like the second message is kind of like, don't make bad decisions. You know, you have no idea what's going to happen. Those are the messages I got from it. But I could see where you're coming from, that, you know, you could not accepting reality if he had won in the end or got what he wanted. But technically he got nothing of what is wanted because his son was going to die and so was he. And it was just like, yeah. His final plan for Gotham didn't make any sense to me in relation to what happened to him. But
yeah, like just killing a bunch of people randomly.
Yeah, that seems to be the motivation of a lot of villains, but it just had no connection with what happened to him because he felt like he lost his family. And I was like, oh, his son's still alive? Why isn't he just spending time? I don't know. Yeah. And but I see where you're coming from, JC. I see where you're coming from.
And yeah, I think honestly, I would go a little bit of the opposite, kind of like Josh did. How I think something fun I took from it was a lot of those Batman villains, if they had a chance to go back and undo everything and be an actually decent person, they would 100% take it. Like obviously, like the Joker is just kind of a psychopath, but if for example, like Mr. Freeze could go back and literally just undo, like, well, okay, Mr. Freeze is kind of stupid in this canon, but the Batman animated series version of him would definitely do some stuff differently.
Oh, for sure, definitely. I mean, that's what he's trying to do, is undo the whole thing. That's his whole mission. And I think there's a villain, which we will discuss, that would fit in your category, Curtis, from these next few episodes, of who would want to go back and change some things.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I definitely see where you're coming from, though.
Yeah. So, does anybody have anything else about episode 8 seconds?
Nah, I'm done.
I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, it was an interesting episode. On to episode 9, titled Riddler's Revenge. This episode was kind of fun.
I liked this episode a lot.
I liked this episode. I mean, I really did. And we got Riddler Origins.
We did.
Like, honestly, my biggest critique of this episode is why didn't you lead with this Riddler episode?
Exactly. I was like,
yeah,
this is a really good Riddler episode. What are you doing? Why are you just like this? By far the best Riddler involved episode, in my opinion.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah. You know, confession time, guys. Pretty much exactly halfway through this episode, I fell asleep. I do not blame the episode for putting me to sleep. However, I think I was just really tired. It was Sunday. I'd already watched a few episodes. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to sleep. And I almost didn't finish it. I almost just said, the episode put me to sleep. That is what it is. I'm just moving on.
Whoa.
And I did move on. I did not go back and finish them initially. But then I was like, I didn't give the episode a fair chance. I will continue it. I will finish the episode. I'm going to do my due diligence and prepare adequately for court session, like a good citizen.
Way to prepare for court.
Yes, indeed. So I went back, I finished it, and I was very, very happy that I did. The second half made up for anything that I didn't like about the first half.
I thoroughly enjoyed the episode entirely.
Yeah, I just thought it went. Yeah, I thought it started out pretty cool, and it got more compelling as it went.
Yes, the whole story. The fact we got flashbacks. Oh my goodness, those flashbacks were so cool. Had no idea that. I guess that explains why Batman was so good at solving his riddles. So I was thinking, like, in the first Riddler episode, Batman was just solving like the riddles and he was thinking on his feet like a boss. Like some random villain comes into town and he's like totally killing it. But turns out Batman had some experience with the Riddler, so he kind of knew how he thought. And I think that's what helped him in the previous Riddler episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really cool. It made the Riddler much more like the very end of the episode made you like super sad for him, have sympathy for him. And I think he fits in that category, Curtis, that you were talking about, is a villain who would take a chance to go back in time and undo things.
Oh, yeah,
definitely.
Because he had the ultimate betrayal happen to him. Poor guy.
That was rough.
Absolutely rough. Man. Feel so bad for him. Okay, so
I feel like half of the Batman Rogues Gallery's backstories can just be summed up in "it be like that sometimes."
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So I wrote some notes down about this episode. The episode 8 seconds wasn't that compelling, so I just didn't write any notes down. But on Riddler's Revenge, I thought his goons looked super cool, man. I'm part of the goon gang. Is anybody else part of the goon gang? Like, if you have some cool looking goons.
Oh yeah, cool.
It makes you
goons
pretty
are
cool.
everything.
I'm so part of the goon gang. Like, just in these solid green outfits, which made no sense really. However, they look super cool with the giant question mark. I was like, this is so Riddler. This is so cool.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna mute myself real quick. You all keep.
All right. I think they're probably my second favorite goons.
Oh, after?
In terms of looks. Black Mask's goons were super cool.
Yeah, I like them, especially one. One was really cool.
Oh yeah, Black Mask goons are probably my favorite goons. Riddler's goons were super cool. I wrote something else down. When they used his staff to blow up the shipment I thought to myself, like, why didn't he have like his staff, like his own thumbprint on the staff? Like, why couldn't he have just made it to his own thumbprint? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that was kind of strange. I didn't really get that either.
I thought, like, this is the Riddler, the guy who usually tries to think things out and plan for things. Like, would he not plan that someone might accidentally jack his staff? You know, that made no sense to me.
I can't say anything to that.
Yeah. Something else I found interesting was that the new design I talked about, Batman's chin and him having more defined features, was him in the he was the same way in the flashback.
Oh, really?
Yes. So the new design was the way it was the same new design in the flashback. So this is just like they're just riding with it. It's not like him aged or anything like that. They're just riding with it. Like it's just a new design.
Yeah.
This is who Batman was and who they wished, I guess, Batman had always been or looked like.
Yeah, I was actually really concerned. I checked and made sure that they used the right Batmobile, and they actually did. They used the old version. So
yeah,
they at least got that right. I was very happy about that.
Yes, they did. They used the old Batmobile, but they did not use the old Batman design.
Yeah. Good catch.
Yeah, buddy. It's just something that stuck out to me. I have no idea why. It was just really interesting.
Well, you're the one who initially noticed the change, so.
So I put in a sentence that the end was fantastic. I thought the ending of Riddler's Revenge was super good and very just super compelling about the Riddler and about who he is. And Batman had a good line.
Oh,
another good line. So this was the very end, and he told a riddle himself, and he said, "When is a villain not the villain?"
Oh, that
was so good.
Yes, I thought like, whoa, that is so good, so deep. You know, like you're thinking of the Riddler as the villain the whole time, but like she's the one who masterminded all, and she gives a little smirk before they say that, you thinking like, okay, turns out she's actually not that good of a person at all. She's not a good person. And
I'm glad she didn't just turn out to be like the standard like love interest who was like his moral compass or whatnot. Yeah, this was more interesting.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I think she probably kept him together at some points, but
yeah,
she definitely had her own evilness ish. But I thought that line was so good.
Mm-hmm.
When is a villain not the villain?
Yeah.
The ending of this episode was really good.
It was. It just did so much for Riddler. Made you feel for him.
Yeah, it did. And it puts Riddler kind of higher on the list. You know, if you have a good origin story, in my opinion, like a cool, amazing origin story makes up for a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, it retroactively makes the other Riddler episodes better.
Definitely. You know, because our first, Riddler episode, we're like, what is happening? Why is, it's just kind of like whatever. It was in the first 2 seasons, which essentially we've kind of thrown in the garbage.
I mean, the creators certainly did.
Yeah, basically, they made a ton of changes coming into season 3, and they're acting like season 1 and 2 kind of didn't exist.
Yeah,
that's just how I feel about it. But
that's fair.
So Riddler was okay. He was an okay villain, but this definitely makes up for it. Like, makes it much more compelling. And
his most standout feature was his character design before.
Yeah. That's true. That's kind of... Also, Batgirl was not in this episode. She was absent.
Ooh.
Yeah, she's definitely taken a hit in terms of her screen time this season, just because of trying to give Robin adequate time to get developed.
That's
Is what it is.
true.
And like I'll mention
Yeah.
this later when we actually talk about their episodes, but like honestly, some of the probably my favorite interactions in this part of the season were Batgirl and Robin. Like they are amazing together.
Oh, they're
Absolutely.
so perfect.
They're
Like
so
literally,
good.
they should have gotten their own spin-off show. That's how good. That's how much I'm growing to like them.
Oh,
Yeah,
together.
and like in the Black Mask episode, they're like this whole duo thing they had going on was so cool, so great. Like these guys are
Love that
awesome
episode.
together. So, does anybody have anything else to say about Riddler's Revenge?
I
No,
think
not
I'm
really.
good.
Oh, according to this, Riddler's goons are called Riddlemen.
I like it.
Of
That's
course.
interesting. All right, on to a very interesting episode called Two of a Kind,
Oh yeah.
where Harley Quinn is introduced.
Thoughts,
Guys,
gentlemen?
I'm a level with you. I love this episode.
Okay.
And I
Hope so.
realize that you all either found Harley incredibly annoying or over the episode she kind of grew on you like she did with me. Because like in the beginning, like yes, her voice is incredibly irritating. But here's why this episode worked for me. This is the best Joker episode because he acts like the freaking Joker.
True.
I thought that
Like
too.
Joker is so much fun in this episode.
Yeah.
Like just all of his lines, like when he's talking about like, oh, someone who's like emotionally broken, I can use that.
Oh, so good.
That was amazing. And just the fact that the Joker sings like a freaking like sappy country song about them is so hilarious. That sent me. I thought that was amazing.
That song was so good. Like it is one of the standout things of the Batman that I just remember because it's so catchy. Oh,
Big fan.
I'm totally on board with you, Curtis, saying that this was the Joker actually being the Joker or the Joker that we enjoy and know.
Yeah. Like I still think he was distinctive to the Batman, but it was the distinction and like the characterization that we were hoping he was going to have, like consistently.
Yeah. All right. So, something really interesting before we get into JC and I had discussed, Curtis, I don't remember if you were on, who played Harley Quinn, who voiced her.
It sounded like someone who was really trying hard to emulate Tara Strong.
You are correct. It was not Tara Strong.
Really?
Yes, it was not.
Yeah, no, I didn't think it was. It sounded like they were trying too hard to be her.
They were trying very hard, but it's something else. Someone very, very interesting. I don't know if you'll recognize this name. Hynden Walsh.
I do recognize the name. Why do I recognize that name?
Hynden Walsh plays Princess Bubblegum in Adventure Time.
What?
Oh!
I could not tell it was her at all, and her voice is really distinct.
Yeah, she played Starfire.
Yes, she also plays Starfire.
That is wild.
Isn't that absolutely wild?
I kind of want to go back and watch the episode again to see if I can pick up on it.
I never would have got that.
Yep, that's absolutely crazy. But it was not Tara Strong. But she did a good job, in my opinion. I could tell she was trying to emulate Tara Strong. I've listened to a lot of Tara Strong stuff. And she did a good job as Harley Quinn. And the voices. But yeah, it sounded like she was just like, the character in general just seemed like it was trying to mimic the, like have their own spinoff, but mimic the behavior of the original Harley Quinn.
They took the whole New Yorker accent really far.
Yeah, they did. So it was really interesting though that she was like this love guru.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Online. Like that was such a different take.
with an online psych degree.
Yeah,
I love that this version of her is almost a fraud.
Oh, 100% a fraud.
I don't know. I feel like she knows what she's talking about a little bit.
Advice.
Absolutely. But that's such a different take than like all the other like Harley Quinns are, you know, where she turns out she like actually has a degree and like is getting her PhD in psychology. And just like it was just a different take. Really interesting though. I think it was kind of a lighter take than the Joker like completely skewing her mind.
Yeah.
And throwing her into a batch of acid, you know, like, so yeah, I feel like Harley's origin story here is much more kid friendly.
Oh yeah, this Harley was already super messed up in the head.
Yeah, she was.
And I really liked when she had Bruce on her talk show, and then she brought in all like his ex-girlfriend.
Oh, the Bruce sneak attack.
It's like,
that was so
Bruce,
good.
the Bachelor life is coming out. But I tell you, I absolutely almost died laughing when Harley Quinn asked the Joker that, you know, to like tell him about what's going on and kind of do like a psych eval. So he jumps on the chair, lays down, and starts telling. And then shortly after, in the scene, they switch seats. And the Joker has the notepad with his glasses.
Oh man!
And he's just acting like the therapist to Harley, and I thought that was freaking hilarious.
That was awesome.
And
it shows how great of a manipulator he is.
Oh yeah.
Basically, but it was absolutely hilarious. Oh man, we're getting classic like good Joker in this episode, and he showed some real opinion, like some real intelligence.
Oh yeah.
Like where he's just not in this episode, he didn't act clueless like he sometimes does, or just you see him trying to create this whole plan or something like that. Like he was actually saying things that made a lot of sense, like calling her theories baseless, like baseless theories and all this kind of stuff. And he's like, I love it. And I was like, yes, this is the Joker that we want all the time.
Mm-hmm. And can we just take a moment to appreciate that Punch and Judy went out for the Joker in this episode? Like they got arrested.
True. Yes, they did. Yep.
Punch and Judy don't get what they deserve. Like
no.
Yeah, they kind of got shafted.
They deserve more respect than that. They have stuck by Joker's side through thick and thin, never saying a word, but always being there, no matter how crazy the scheme. He just threw them away.
It just makes me think of the Clayface episode. He's like, since when do you guys talk? Oh, that was great. But yeah, so good Joker, good Harley in a sense. I'm still in favor of the Harley in Batman the animated series.
Well, I mean, yeah, I feel like we should almost stop mentioning that because obviously none of this is going to stack up.
Yeah, but it's pretty good.
Harley in Batman animated series is one of the best animated characters of all time.
Oh, yeah. Like, that's absolutely wild. Like, the depth of which they made the character and how much of a following it got. Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so moving on to the next episode, Rumors.
Oh, before we do that, though, I have a couple things I wanted to add.
Oh, okay.
Just a couple quotes that really stood out to me. When Joker was first bringing Harley to, like, his hideout, he was like, I love it. You've got moxie. I feed moxie to the hyenas.
Yes, that was good. That was pretty good.
Love it. I just love how Kevin Michael Richardson as Joker, he like has such a vocal range that he goes super high with the early part of the quotes and then super low when he gets super dark.
He does have quite the range, and it's very when it gets super dark, like how he gets really low, it's like it's serious. It's like, all right, man, you're good.
Oh yeah,
Like,
it
let's
just
go.
makes it just makes like that dichotomy to the Joker of absolutely the terrifying monster, but also the insane clown. Like I just love that he does that. It shows both sides of that coin, in my opinion, very well.
Mm-hmm.
And also, oh, who was it? I think it was Batgirl that was talking about how Bruce Wayne was like talking about psychology and trying to like diagnose Harley or something like that. And Batgirl's like, and next week, Bruce will explore the Freudian implications of Penguin's umbrella.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I forgot to mention that. I was like, that is definitely the most inappropriate thing they've said on the show.
I know.
Absolutely.
Like, oh,
But
that
I
was
don't think any
hilarious.
kid's gonna pick up on that one.
Nope.
Nope, but we got it.
Yeah, we did.
Anyway, so in case our dear viewers are younger, let's move on.
Yeah, I'll let you ask your parents about that.
All right, fam. Moving on to rumors, episode 11 of season 4. We had ourselves a cool vigilante named Rumor.
Yes.
Cool until we found out who he was, in my opinion.
Yes, I absolutely agree with that. Once the mystery was uncovered, I was like,
Pretty lame mystery.
what? This is so dumb. Like, he really has no motivation to do this significant, like, of work. You know what I mean? Like, where's the motivation really?
Out of his failure. I mean, I could kind of see that.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
but-
saw where they went with it. I just wasn't entertained by it, I guess.
Oh no, not at all. I mean, I will give them the credit that they at least gave a twist to who the villain was, and it wasn't super obvious, like when we had the Everywhere Man episode where it was like, yeah, he's the villain.
That's true. That's true. But the twist didn't turn out to be.
Oh,
very-
it wasn't a good twist.
Well,
At least there was one.
The episode only had like 5 characters in it. So obviously you narrowed it down to it's either the CEO or his goon. And I'm like, since they're literally telegraphing it's the CEO, it's got to be the goon.
Fair.
Yeah, that's true. But there were some things that I wrote down, and I thought it was hilarious when the Penguin was trying to turn himself in.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And he was trying to do everything to get them to arrest him. And he's like, look, I'm stealing. Look, he's like, now I'm going to cast on Gotham some cruel, ironic bird-related fate.
Oh, that was a
And
good
I
line.
was like, oh my gosh, exploiting his own character. This is great.
Just like,
And
where
then
was
just-
this penguin?
Yeah, one of my favorite Penguin scenes probably of all time in this show.
Season
yeah.
4 is just like justifying all of the rogues gallery.
Yeah. So this was a question I had when the rumor came up. My question was, does the voice of Slade from Teen Titans play the new Vigilante?
That was my first thought too.
And
Oh.
he does.
Yes.
It
I didn't even
is
think
him.
about that.
Oh man, it instantly came out to me. I was like, oh my goodness, that's Slade.
Wow.
What in the world?
Slade.
Well,
Another
don't have
fun
the
fact
character,
is
at least we
he
have the
plays. Huh?
I said if we don't have the character, at least we have the voice in this.
Oh yes, and I thought it was absolutely fitting until the very end of we found out who it was.
Yeah.
That like some BA vigilante who's a freaking boss fighter is actually doing some cool stuff. Turns out he's voiced by the guy who voices Slade, Ron Perlson, I think his name is. Perlman, who actually voices someone else in this show. Can anybody take a guess? Each person has one guess.
Let's see. Oh, he's on the tip of my tongue. JC, you guess first.
The same guy who voices Rumor voices someone else.
Yes.
Can you tell us which season this character appeared in?
Oh, he's been. Oh, I don't know if. let's just say we like this villain. It's a villain.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, that
I
narrows
figured-
it down considerably.
I thought it was a villain.
Oh, Dave.
Nope,
No, it's
Really?
not Dave.
not Dave. All right, Curtis, you're up.
I'm so frustrated because I can hear his voice in my mind.
The way he voices this character is nothing like the voice we're used to hearing.
Yeah, I know. But Ron Perlman has voiced other characters too, and like it reminded me of one of those. I have no idea.
Killer Croc.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
He voices Killer Croc.
Wow.
Very interesting. Yep.
That's range.
Yeah, some range, man. Our cowboy Cajun Killer Croc is Slade. What a guy.
What a guy.
So I loved having it. You know, we didn't have the Slade that I absolutely love from Teen Titans, but we had the voice, which was super cool. And he was like some cool. Most of the episode, he was a pretty cool villain, or vigilante is what he called himself. Pretty cool. But there were some things that that I wrote down that Batman said.
Ooh.
Or just one thing that Batman said. This is another line that I enjoyed from the episode that Batman said. It says, "The code we work by isn't always the easiest way, but it's the right way."
Yeah.
And that's something that really stuck with me. I'm just like, this is so Batman. This is an absolute Batman thing to say. And like Batman's code is like, without it, he's no longer Batman. So, and like, inducting Robin into this, because Batgirl was not in this episode. Inducting Robin into that kind of mindset is really interesting. But I really enjoyed it. But however, there are some downsides to this episode that I noticed, other than the vigilante not being actually that cool at the end. First thing was like, how in the world did Batman and Robin take all of those guys down with such ease?
That was
like
completely and utterly silly.
Absolutely.
Only every villain they've ever faced.
Exactly. Like every villain, even Cluemaster was there.
Cluemaster, Spellbinder, I'm pretty sure every single one. What's his face?
Even the ventriloquist was there.
The ventriloquist, yeah. They brought out all the deep cuts.
They brought everyone, and they took them out. And Gearhead was there. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Gearhead was there.
Everyone is here.
I guess one person I don't remember seeing was what's his name? Maximilian.
He was there. He was in the background.
Oh. He's not showing up on the list here of people who were there.
I'm pretty sure I saw him in his armor in the background.
Okay. But yeah, so how in the world did Batman and Robin take out an entire show's worth of villains with such ease? No, but like that completely takes the difficulty, because I thought to myself, like, how are they gonna do this? Like something crazy's got to happen. But nope, they just fought him off, and that was it.
Well, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and argue that it's logical, but I will say
there's always a but with JC in this show.
I know. So I will say that, you know, Batman has had time now to study all of them, learn all of their weaknesses.
He's had prep time!
Exactly. He's had prep time. He knows how to take them all out immediately, and he did it. So,
except for the fact that he pretty much just punched and kicked them.
Yeah, it's all that happened. It was just regular hand-to-hand combat against them all.
He's just leveled up that much.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. But since I'm short on time, let's move on to the next 2 episodes, since they are part 1 and part 2.
The Joining.
Called The Joining.
Man, by the title of this episode, I was like, this has got to be Justice League, right? Well, about 5% of the Justice League, sure.
Yeah, it wasn't really Justice League. It also didn't make too much sense to me. The whole thing, The Joining, apparently are basically like a wannabe Brainiac.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like
I figure that they would reveal someone like Brainiac being behind it, but they never did.
I thought so too, because they said one brain, and I thought, oh shoot, like is actually Brainiac behind all of this? Nah. There was no brain. Where was the brain, anyways? Yeah. This episode, or these 2 episodes, were kind of fun. I thought, okay, we got Martian Manhunter. That's kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
But this is cool. We got Martian Manhunter. Well, at first I saw the clone, and so I thought, oh, are we getting Clayface again?
Ew.
And then I was John Jones. Like when he said John Jones in the thing, I was like, oh, his Martian Manhunter.
Oh
cool
yeah.
bean.
So what did you all think of him?
Huh?
What did you think of this interpretation of Martian Manhunter?
I thought they put the kid lock on him.
Oh?
Yeah, I thought, like, number one, his design was okay. It was okay. It was very similar to the Justice League one. Like, very similar. So it was cool. However, he was like a different kind of character, and he seemed more human. I got a more human aspect out of him. Like him wanting to race the Batwing while flying. Like, I was like, this doesn't seem like Martian Manhunter that I know, but this is fun. Also, he seemed weak. Did anybody see that? Like,
yeah, he did seem kind of weak.
He was extremely weak. Like Martian Manhunter, if there's no fire involved, he can go, like, he's really, really strong.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, they weakened him quite a bit.
That is fair. Yeah, I agree with that.
But yeah, so that's my take on the Martian Manhunter of the show. I think we'll probably see him in the future because the end of The Joining Part 2 was an introduction to the Justice League, and we only got like a few members. Was that supposed to be Kyle Rayner as Green Lantern?
It's Hal Jordan.
Okay. Because he's got red hair. So he looked like Kyle Rayner. So I thought, wow, that's interesting. Okay. Green Arrow looked cool. The Flash looked like the Flash. We'll see.
We will see.
I don't know how much they're gonna go like the Justice League. That's also another show that I absolutely love.
Oh yeah.
But I will say this. All right. Okay. The Joining Part 2, in my opinion, was better than the Joining Part 1.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it so much more than the Joining Part 1. I thought it was super cool when like Batman does his iconic "I knew this all along" when they take him up to the tower and he's
was awesome.
Hacked into the tower this whole time. And I was wondering when you were going to take me up here. I was like, what? Like, that's absolutely crazy because it seemed like it all happened in like one night.
No, it was like, at the end, it was like 6 months or a year in the future.
Yeah,
because they talked about rebuilding.
Yeah, because they talked about rebuilding, like the whole world is rebuilding. But that was pretty cool that Batman did that. That happened quite often in the Justice League, where he's like, "Oh, I knew all about this already."
Oh yeah.
So that was a cool Batman moment. There was something else. Oh, the mind trick he used with Martian Manhunter was pretty cool too, where Martian Manhunter couldn't read his mind.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
See, that was a more realistic time where we talk about Spellbinder and his ability to use his mind. That made way more sense.
That is true. What do you guys think of Lucius? We finally got to see him.
I mean, he was Lucius.
Yeah, that's about all I gotta say. Like, he's Lucius.
Okay, that Alfred Lucius moment though.
Oh, where they're sipping tea.
Oh, that was good.
That was awesome.
That was really good.
And I think low key, my favorite part of this whole two-parter was when Batgirl and Robin are just chilling, eating cookies, like saying, like, "Huh, I wonder if
Alfred's a robot."
Alfred's a robot, and then he's like, "If you attempt to kick my head off, you will not have cookies for a year." And I'm like,
that was fantastic.
Oh, Alfred.
It's been
so
a while
good.
since we had a good Alfred line.
I know. That's what I miss the most, because there's so many new characters. We have so much less Alfred now.
Mm-hmm.
But just the whole like through line of Batgirl and Robin, like being impatient initially and it leading Bruce down the path of, am I endangering these kids? Like, I was really glad they addressed that, but it was just hilarious, like their impatience and just to see them work off of each other through the episodes. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also got some random Static Shock kind of feel when he was flying the disc around.
Oh yeah.
I was like, is Robin about to become Static Shock? Like, what? I thought it was pretty cool he was flying the disc around, but different type of character. So I am going to let you guys rank your episodes, and then we'll talk about the rankings next time, unless we want to rank them next episode.
I'm fine waiting to rank them, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. I will give my least favorite one though. My least favorite one before I go was definitely Seconds.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Same.
Yeah, I thought so. It's like, it's not one of those like absolutely forgettable ones like Clayface's. My goodness.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely I think you can just know is the bottom of the crop.
Yeah. But hey, we've got a lot more Justice League to look forward to now.
Yes, we do. And I'm going to unknowingly and knowingly compare it to the Justice League show. And I'll do my best not to do that.
Oh, yeah, right.
I will try super hard not to do that. I will try to bring up as least amount of comparisons as I possibly can. I don't know, but we shall see. It's a problem of mine. Like,
we know.
I mean, but granted, as we said, we probably shouldn't mention it. Batman the Animated Series is one of my favorite shows of all time. So it's
really,
like, oh yes,
Josh.
So good. Okay. Anyways, all right, judges. It was nice. Sorry, it's a short episode for this week, but we will have goods talking about half of season 5 for next week. JC, do you have a specific stopping point for next season?
Yeah, are we watching the first 6 or the first 7?
Well, if you want me to let you know, I will take a look and I will give a suggestion.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
I will say this as a spoiler, since we or a tease, we have now.
Oh, you muted yourself.
Oh, sorry. Am I back?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've pretty much seen the entire Justice League already, except the title character of the next episode,
Superman.
Oh yeah, it's pretty obvious. You're like thinking about where's the big boy?
Yeah. So Sadly, no Wonder Woman, but we get a really good Superman two-parter to start us off. So I remember it being really good. So hopefully it is.
All right.
Intriguing.
So there we go.
All right. Nice meeting with you, judges, talking things out.
Always.
It's been
Always
real.
a great time. It's been fun. JC.
Yeah, it's been real fun.
Court
Man,
is
this is sad.
adjourned.
Sorry.